This sequence is going to be quite intense. So again, as with any of the poses, don't push yourself too far. Just make sure that you're aware of your body's limits and what your body allows you to do at this particular time. To begin with, we're going to come into plank pose. So begin with the hands underneath the shoulders and then push the knees back as far as is comfortable and come up onto the feet. So it is quite a strong pose for the arms. Bring the knees down, lower the body down, and we're going to come into upward facing dog. So keeping the hands where they are, you're going to breathe in, push up on the hands and then onto the top of the feet. And just hold that for a breath or two. And then release. Tuck your toes under. Push yourself back into child's pose. Then back into tabletop. And you're going to take the right leg out to the side and then to the front. Bring the toes up as you sink back down onto the left leg. And just hold that there for a few moments. And then you're taking the right foot back and doing the same with the left foot. So extend it out in front of you and then slowly sink back onto the right leg. Toes are pointing up on the extended leg. And then back up to where it was and back to tabletop. From here, this time, you're going to take the right leg forwards, but instead of away from you, it's going to come across the body. So bring it across the midline of the body. The foot is on the left side of the mat now. Your hands are on the floor and you're going to lower the lower leg down onto the mat. You may need to walk the hands forwards to give you space and push the left leg back as far as is comfortable. From here, you can either keep the arms where they are or bring the forearms down onto the mat. Remember, no competition. You're just doing what your body allows. You can either keep the left leg straight or you can bend the knee and bring the foot upwards. Then to come out of it, bring the hands back to where they were, push back on the arms and bring yourself back to tabletop. The other side now, going to bring the left leg and I'm just going to help it along a little. You're placing it on the mat. You're pushing the right leg out behind you as far as you can. You can either put the top of the foot on the floor or you can tuck toes under. I just find it more comfortable with the foot on the floor. And again, lower your forearms if you wish. And if you want to bend the knee, you can. And you will just release in your own time, bringing the hands back up. And I usually tuck the toes under to lift the other leg up, and it makes it easier to push it back into tabletop. And then child's pose. From your tabletop position, you're going to extend your arms forward and then lower your body. Hands are underneath shoulders, elbows are tucked in. Inhale as you push up into Cobra. And just hold this for the breath. And then exhale as you come back down. We're going to come into snake pose again, but with a variation on the legs. Lift the right leg, bend it and take it out to the side. So it's the inside of the knee and the thigh that are in contact with the mat. Then breathe in and push up. The other leg is still extended. Lower yourself down. Straighten the bent leg, and we need to do the other side. So again, it's the inside of the leg that's in contact with the mat. Breathe in as you push up. And then lower yourself down. Straighten the legs. If you want to try doing both sides at the same time, you can, but try not to push the legs out too far. So just make sure that your legs are equal. If you do have any knee trouble, I would strongly advise against doing this pose. Then breathe in as you push up. And release. And you might find that you've got to experiment with where you place your legs, and depending on how far your body lets you come up. And you might find that you can't come up as far, so you may need to decrease the bend in the knees. Straighten the legs out once more and stretch the body. We're now going to push ourselves back up into tabletop. Take the feet out to either side. And then if you can widen the gap between the knees, do so. Then bring the forearms down to the ground. You can either look at the space between the thumbs or look ahead. All the while keeping your spine straight. So it doesn't have to be level, doesn't have to be horizontal, it just needs to be straight. And from here, if you can push the knees out any further, one at a time, then do so. But it will stretch the inner thigh a lot. So again, just be wary of your own body. Be aware of what you can do. Then come back up onto the hands and bring the knees and feet back into tabletop once more. Then push back into child's pose. come up into tabletop, push back to kneeling. We're going to bring our legs out in front of us now. So I'm going to turn so that you can see both legs. And you're going to bend them, take the left leg underneath the right and have the knee pointing forwards. And then you're going to take the right leg over to the other side and then line up the toes. So the knees are centre and the toes are level with each other. So we've opened our hips one way and now we're rotating them the other way. And just hold this for a breath and then release. So taking the top leg back first and then the other side. If you can only do the first half of the pose, that's perfectly okay. Remember, we're not trying to injure ourselves. We're being aware of what our bodies allow us to do. Grab the toes. And you might find that it feels very different on one side to the other. For instance, this side feels much tighter than the other side for me. And then release in your own time. And we always come out of the poses really carefully. We try not to collapse out of them. Then bring the soles of the feet together and clasp the hands either around the ankles or around the toes, pushing the knees outwards but keeping the spine upright. And then release the hands, bring the feet out in front of you and slowly push the fingertips down towards the ankles, rolling yourself forward. And come back up to sitting. Allow yourself to come into your staff pose, Dandasana. Sitting bones are equal either side, toes are pointing up. So once your alignment is correct, we're going to do a forward fold, but this time with a block. So place the block in between the knees, keep the toes pointing up. You're going to breathe in as you reach up and then fold forward and place the head on the block. Breathe in to bring the body back up. If the head can't reach the block, then just use more blocks or more cushions, more pillows, whatever you've got to hand. So the idea is that when you're folding forward, you're pushing your chest down and keeping your spine straight. So experiment with where you have the block and just see what feels comfortable for you. Moving on from there, we're going to lie back. Take the arms out into a T shape and then do eagle legs. So the knees are bent and you're hooking one leg over the other, and we can either just let the toes come towards the floor feel flexible enough, you can bend the leg that is underneath and twist the rest of the body round. So the leg that has been hooked is on the floor. Then breathe in to bring the legs back up. Come back to your correct alignment with the knees and hook the opposite leg, folding over, and then if you want to extend the stretch, you can. And that will lift up the opposite side of the body off the mat. If it's too uncomfortable to keep the arms outstretched, then you can bring the arms by your side. Just don't have it hanging in the air, just need to be supported by the mat or the ground. And then bring the knees back up and stretch yourself out. And now you're going to bend the knees and then reach the right knee up towards the chest and bring the right arm to the inside of the bent leg and either grab the ankle or grab around the toes or the outside of the foot. You can just do one side at a time if you wish. If you want to do the other side at the same time, you would bend the knee, bring the arm inside and stretch. If you can widen the gap between the feet so that they are above the knees, then do so. And just feel the stretch in the legs. Again, don't overextend yourself. Make sure you've got a nice firm grip on either the feet or around the ankles. So holding around the ankles would look a little like that. Again, just do what you're capable of, what your body allows you. It's not a competition. If you want to extend the legs a little and straighten them, you can do. Again, it's not compulsory. Remember, none of these poses are compulsory, you just do what you can. To come out of it, return back to bent knees and slowly release the hands and then bring the legs down. So it's really important that we don't collapse out of the pose. And we're going to bring our knees into our chest, bring our nose up towards them, and then release. The final cool down pose is going to be bending the right knee and allowing it to fall out to the side while taking your arms up above your head and grabbing opposite elbows. If it's more comfortable to have the arms in a T shape, then of course do that. And you're not forcing the legs, you're just allowing them to gently stretch. It's a gentle hip opener. And then bring the knee back up to centre and swap over. So bending the left knee, allowing it to fall out to the side, toes pointing up on the extended leg. An alternative to this is you can place a block under the bent leg just to give give it a little bit more support. Then raise the knee back to centre, extend the leg and bring the arms back to down by your side.